Hey guys and gals, Blender Tech here. It's early in the morning. I haven't had my coffee or anything yet, so if I do anything stupid, which isn't unusual for me, or I'm a little slower than usual, then forgive me. However, in response to my video I posted last night for helping a user import images into Blender for use and animating things, I got a reply in which I was sent an image that and was requested if there was any way to make it move at all. So we're gonna look at a couple things we could do. So I'm gonna delete this stock cube. Just gonna hit X and delete it. And we are going to split our window here by dragging this arrow. We're going to go into the UV/image editor, and I'm going to open that image. If this is an issue from the original user, just let me know and I will definitely bring it down and use some other image. Where the heck did I see it? Right here. So it's just a still image. I couldn't tell offhand if it was a photograph, if it was a few images composed together in an image editing program, or if it was an actual Blender scene. And if it is a Blender scene, then I have to say this user is doing amazingly because it's utterly beautiful. Anyways, what can we do with this image? Well, as I showed before, I'm just going to close this window off now. We could project it onto a plane, so we could add a plane, we could add a material. I'm gonna switch into the cycles render. If you're not using the cycles render by now, it's time to learn. I'm gonna create a new material, and I'm just gonna break my window open and go into the node editor, and I'm gonna do as I did before. I'm going to add in a image texture, and I'm going to add in a... Oh, wrong one. That's for other stuff. I'm going to add in a texture coordinates node, and I'm going to put generated to vector, purple to purple, and color to color, yellow to yellow. And I'm going to open that image. So now, if we go into material mode, we have our flower overlaid onto the plane. However, this is very 2D. If we were to take our camera, if we were to zoom in a little bit, let me get right over top of it here if I can. Let's see here, grab along the Y. Whoa, too far. I'm drunk in Blender. Okay, try that again. You shift for more precision. There we go. Alright. So we're going to set our camera there. So that is what our camera will see. If we render this C note, it is a very basic. I'm going to set that to... Oh, I don't have my GPU set up. Just ignore this. It is a very basic scene. It's one plane with an image on it, and we don't even have really any light. I'm going to turn this lamp into a sun lamp by clicking on sun here, and we'll see if that makes it look a little better. A little bit brighter. So basically, yeah, that's about all you can do with an image. Now, she wanted to know if there was any way to make any sort of movement. Well, yes, there is. We can use the same things we learned in the previous video. We can animate it slightly. So if we go into top view by pressing numpad 7, I'm gonna hide the camera because it's in the way now. You can also... Oh, I don't have pie menus enabled. Can you do it from here? I've never done that before. Yeah, view top, numpad 7. So hit view top. I'm trying to do this without any hotkeys for beginners, assuming that this user is brand new to Blender based on the input I've received. We can animate this slightly. I mean, we could go into frame 1 here, which we're on, and we could insert a keyframe, a Lockrot scale, just like we used before, and we could rotate it, or sorry, we could move to, say, frame 100. So that would be roughly 3 seconds of animation, and we could rotate it just slightly. How much did I rotate it there? I'm going to rotate it 5 degrees. So I'm going to rotate it 5 degrees, hit enter. I'm going to insert another Lockrot scale keyframe. So now we have 2 keyframes. And I'm going to move forward to 200. So that'll be roughly 6 seconds into our animation. And I'm going to rotate it back 5 degrees. So I'm going to hit -5. And so it'll be back to where it was at the beginning. I'm going to hit I to insert another Lockrot scale. Now if we view our animation, yes, it is moving, but it's kind of boring. I mean, you could use this for I don't know, some sort of intro to a movie or something, but I mean, your imagination's really the limit here. If I clear all the keyframes, how do I do this from here? I only know the hotkeys. I don't even know. Anyways, Alt-I is to clear keyframes, so I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to jump to the last one, like that, and I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to start at the beginning again, frame 1. And you could do something cool too, like if we just rotated with our middle mouse button, if we rotated to a side view, we could have it move towards the camera. So if we turn our camera back on, we get kind of a preview of where it's pointing at. So we could have it animated towards the camera. That would look kind of neat. So we could insert a Lockrot scale. Make sure your mouse is always in this window when you're inserting keyframes, by the way. And then we could go forward, let's just say to 100 again. And we could move it very, very close to the camera and insert another one. And we'll press numpad 0 to go into camera preview mode, and we could go through our animation. You could do something like that, but you're really quite limited because a picture is 2D. So the way around this is 2 ways. I'm just going to hide this camera again. There's 2 ways around this. I'm also just going to delete all these keyframes. And I'm just going to put it back to the center by hitting Shift S, selection to cursor. Alright. So, yeah, there's 2 ways around this. I'm just going to go top view. The first way would be to model this flower and this bulb and the stems and this log. The log would be the easiest, trust me. And then we could use a little environment background to cheat for the rest of it, since it's out of focus anyway. However, that's not the easiest modeling task in the world, to put it lightly. That's going to be a serious project. If that's your first Blender project and you complete it, if you make a Blender scene that looks like this as your first project and you actually get it completed, you are on your way to getting a job at Pixar or something, because that would be utterly amazing. Yeah, that would not be an easy thing to model. So the second way around this, actually there's 3 ways, but yeah, the second way around this is we could map it onto a 3D object instead of a plane. So I'm going to delete that plane. I'm going to add, let's just pick I don't know, let's just pick a sphere. It'll distort it, but it'll kind of drive the idea home. So we are going to go back to the materials tab, the little ball. We're going to add another new material. And just like before, we're going to do the same steps. Add an image texture, add in texture coordinates, generate its vector, color to color, open up our flower, and our flower is now wrapped around the sphere. Let me drag this down a little bit. So it's now wrapped around the sphere completely. So you could do a bit more interesting things with this now. You could animate this. You could create a particle system to have it rain these little flower drops. You could make these look like raindrops and have them rain down onto a surface. That would be something kind of cool. A little bit more advanced, but it's just an idea. So you just got to get a little bit creative with it, right? It's art really. But yeah, being that a picture is a 2D surface and we're working with 3D with 3D objects, it really limits what you can do with an image. So the third thing you could do is I thought of this, but I forgot to mention at the beginning, is we could add in just a simple environment texture. So if we go to our world tab, which is this little, I guess you could call it a world, but if you hover over it, it says world. Hit preview. This is the background. If we render this out quick, you'll see the background color right here is the same as this color right here. It might not seem like it, but it is. They're the same color. It's just an optical illusion. We can change that to use an image. So I'm going to hit use nodes. Since we're in cycles render now, we're using nodes. And for color, I'm going to hit this little dot to replace it with an environment texture. And watch the magic. I'm going to open one that I've already downloaded. I used this in another video. I used this in my Christmas Tree from Hell video. Which one was it? Let's see. Downloads. Oh yeah, okay, I used a snow scene. So now if we go into rendered mode, we have our flower sitting in a snow scene, and you can rotate the camera around to kind of get it positioned where you want. So we'd go to our camera preview, and we could move our camera around to get it positioned where we want. So you could have your flower sitting in a, I wouldn't choose a winter scene, obviously, for although that would be kind of creative, a blooming flower in a winter scene. And this is a very low resolution image; it's very blurry. But yeah, you could do something like that, and would be kind of interesting. And then you could go and if you wanted a little bit of movement, yeah, you could animate it, and you could put it on a cube. You could do a plane like we've been doing. You could do a sphere like this. So that was my third idea. So yeah, basically I just asked, if we go to the image editor, is this a photograph? Is this 3 or 4 images put together, or is this an actual render? And I need to know that before we decide what we're gonna do with it. But yeah, in terms of adding movement to just an image like that, you're really quite limited to what we did in the beginning. So hopefully this answers a few more questions. Yeah, it's easier for guys than it is for girls, because I've had lots of friends and lots of people on the internet that are female that they want to create cute cartoons like from Pixar and Disney, or they want to create things like, yeah, flowers and whatever, and guys want to create guns and explosions and whatever. However, in the middle ground there is environment tutorials. So I would suggest maybe start out. I actually don't do a lot of environment tutorials, or even none at all. I would suggest looking up Andrew Price is the #1 guy, obviously. BlenderGuru.com. He does all sorts of environment things. We could quickly open it up. Slow internet today. So yeah, it has all these really neat tutorials, just dozens and dozens and dozens of them, and a lot of them are really fun, and he explains them very well. And such. Ooh, a new podcast. I'm gonna listen to that today. Anyways, yeah, that's what I would suggest. If you're getting stuck with this project here where you want to create this flower, whatever, like I said, give me a few more details of what you're trying to accomplish. I've kind of told you that, yeah, you're quite limited when it comes to pictures. Not completely, but without going into advanced topics, yes. So yeah, I would suggest starting somewhere with an environment. Go somewhere and learn to make, a grassy meadow with flowers in it or something to that degree, like how to make cherry blossom flowers. I would have to say that would probably be a perfect tutorial for you. That way, you're going to get your flower, but it's going to be in 3D space. So instead of in whoa, what's happening to Blender here? Oh, instead of oh, I forgot in the daily builds you can see environment textures in the viewport. That's not exactly what I wanted. Anyways, yeah, instead of having your image flat, then you would have an actual 3D flower that you could start composing a scene out of. So you could place flowers wherever you wanted. You could add some grass, you can add a sky or an environment texture like I did here, and you could create a whole scene out of that. And then from there you could add an animation to make your flowers, say, sway in the wind or whatever. That's very easy. You could have the flowers blooming, you could have them changing colors. You can get more and more advanced as you get more and more creative. So that's just a few more ideas, a few more suggestions. It's a tough one for sure. You've definitely set your goals high. So hopefully that helps you. And I am going to leave this off again here and have my coffee and listen to Andrew's latest podcast. And hopefully we can figure something out for you.